Hey, before we get started, I have a quick question for you. Have you ever thought about teaching your own workshops before? But maybe you've thought, I don't know enough, or where would I even begin? Or I've never taught before. If so, you're not alone. But I'm opening the doors to a brand new program called Paint It Forward, the Art of Teaching, where I will teach you how to create and lead powerful, life-changing, and profitable workshops, even if you've never taught a single class in your life. Because I've been teaching for over a decade, from tiny little studios to international workshops. And what I know for sure is you do not need a teaching degree, and you don't need to be the expert of all experts. But what you do need is your own story. You need your own creative journey, and you just need to be willing to share that with others. So we get started August 4th, where I will go live with you every week for this 8-week program. And I'll show you how I went from charging $99 per student to several thousand. So if you considered teaching in the past, just check out the link in my bio for Paint It Forward, because the impact that you can make in someone's life is priceless. Hello, and welcome back to the Honest Art Podcast. You probably hear me really, really giddy, and it's because my guest today is actually the first returning guest that we've ever had on the Honest Art Podcast, and it is my guest, Becky Joan Springer. Hi, Becky.
Hi. I'm really honored to be back.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you guys are listening to this on a platform instead of watching it on YouTube, you don't have the great honor to see that I intentionally dressed according to Becky's hair.
I love it. Also, I just changed it from purple to pink, so it's wild that you knew.
Well, I did because I'm a big fan of Becky. And do you want me to call you Becky Joan or Becky?
No, Becky. No.
I know why you did the Becky. I know why you do the Becky Joan. But anyway, so I'm such a big fan of Becky. And I'll give you a little background of how I met her. But I follow you on Instagram, Becky. And so I saw just like yesterday or something, like your hair color. I'm like, I'm on it. I know I wouldn't have had as much purple, but pink I had. So
Perfect.
So welcome back. I first met Becky online years ago when she took an art business class from me. And then gratefully, Becky joined me in Italy for the retreat, for my very first retreat, actually, in Italy. And, there's just those people that you meet and you're just like, I want you in my life. You're the coolest human ever. And since then we've had a friendship. But what has been remarkable to me, and probably to you as well, is to see the trajectory of what has happened just in the last several years. So welcome, and tell people how the whole art thing even started for you. Because as I understand it, coming to painting and everything was just kind of like a later in life thing, not as much of a childhood thing, right?
Well, I was always artistic when I was younger, but it was never, I didn't think at any point I was going to be an artist.
A professional.
Yeah. So I took classes in undergrad, but it was never, the mindset. Like, I was like, I need to make money. I need a job. That I went into teaching and I went into higher ed. And so I took art classes for fun. And so I took as a minor in undergrad. And then for 20 years, I went in a totally different direction, and I started teaching and counseling, and I ran an LGBTQ center on a college campus. So I was in a totally different world. I was in higher ed world, being a professional with a pension and great retirement plan.
And you know what? That you did the thing that so many artists are told to do, is to get something safe, right?
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Safe, but safe can kill our soul.
Oh, it was killing my soul, literally. It was not where I needed to be for a very long time, and I stayed for a very long time, way longer than I should have. And this art world was like out there, but it felt like it was a really impractical, unsafe space for me to be in. And it's still, I could get teary. I still can't believe it's happening. And I'm just so happy that I am where I am now. And I'm thinking about the last time I was here 3 years ago, and so much has happened, and I don't believe it all the time.
Well, and Becky and I will DM each other, but mostly Becky sends me DMs about this cool thing happened, and holy shit, now this cool thing happened, and now this cool thing. And each time my mind is so blown, but I know all of this has happened because you made a decision. Like when I first met you, Becky, you were still working in higher ed, and you were unhappy, to say the least. And you did want to go and choose art as a direction. And all of these things have happened because you have made it happen. You've stepped into it, and you have created it. Scared, unsure. Did you say terrified?
Yeah, I was terrified. I think about 3 years ago talking to you, I was doing it anyway, but I was doing it so scared. I mean, I keep thinking about lately that quote, Mary Oliver, like, what your one precious life. And I feel like that I had a moment of reckoning in Italy, actually. I had started having these thoughts of leaving my job, but I was so scared. I was shaking scared. And I love this story. I think I may have shared it on the podcast before, but when I was going to leave my job, I had people close in my life, mentors telling me not to leave, that I was making a horrible decision. And it kept me there for longer than I should have. And now those same people have come to me, and I don't think they even remember saying, like, don't leave. What are you doing? But now they're like, we're so proud of you. We follow you. We want to come to one of your art retreats. And I'm like, you have no fucking idea what you told me. And you kept anyway. So it's just, I reach out to you in part because I love you and you're my friend, but also because you were one of the encouragers who really believed in me and as a teacher and as an artist. And so yes, I love sharing all this good stuff with you and celebrating.
Well, so just to bring everybody up to speed now, and I have a little bio here, which is funny because it's actually helpful because I feel like I know you, so I wouldn't know how to introduce you. So thank God there's a bio here that I can be a little more professional than I normally would be. But so you did start painting, you did start leaning into your creative gifts and everything. And now Becky teaches intuitive painting workshops and retreats around the world, hoping to inspire others to discover their own unique visual voice, believing we're all artists. But this is the thing that really caught my eye, Becky, that your classes blend, and I know this, but your classes blend a mind, body, soul approach to intuitive painting, welcoming the broken, the shiny, and the rebels to your little island of misfit artists to share their stories through art and play. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's cool, right? And you do the same thing.
Well, we do very similar things, but you know, before we got on, started recording, you said that other people have said to you that, you know, they want to do that. And what is the advice you were saying you give them, that the one thing that they need to do?
Yeah, exactly. That's a beautiful segue. It's to find their communities. And so I've had other artists come to me and say, how are you doing this? How are you like finding people to go to your retreats? And how's this happened for you? And number one, I would say, find your communities. And so I'm really consciously, so I'm going to talk about Brandi Carlile because no conversation.
Do it.
Will not be about Brandi Carlile. But the things that bring me the greatest joy. I've had a lot of hardship. I found painting in a really, really dark time in my life. We can talk more about that if you want. But I found painting again. I hadn't been artistic in years, as literally like a means of survival. It really became my therapy, my meditation, my like a savior. And
Okay, can we just stop before we move on to Brandi Carlile, because
yeah,
this is such an important part of your story that I feel like so many people could relate to. Do you mind sharing your childhood experience and then how this has evolved for you?
yeah. I mean, you're gonna make me cry again. So
We can cry. If you
yeah.
cry, I'll cry. We'll both be crying.
Uh, no, it's just, and I'm feeling tender about it. But I was raised in a very conservative, very ultra conservative religious household. I am gay. My partner is trans. And about over a decade ago, 16 years ago, when I fell in love with my partner, and we were getting married, and shit hit the fan, and my family and disowned me. I haven't talked to them since, and it was a really really hard time.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we wanted to start a family, my partner and I, and so we went through a series on the heels of the loss of my family. We went on through a series of infertility struggles for years, only to find out that I had uterine cancer. And so it was just like one thing after another. And then I loved the work that I was doing. I was running an LGBTQ center on a college campus, and I was loving serving the student population, but my job was a really toxic environment. And so it was just like this total breaking point. Like I was in a
Yeah.
shit storm.
Yeah. And I
And
think that's really when I met you, right?
yeah, you met me right after that. So we started working online in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like at this. I had found art already. I'd been doing art. I had taken some art retreats, but it was when I really had just started teaching. And that was this new world to me. I just started teaching. I started teaching these workshops in my garage because people were like, and people showed up, and it was starting to take off. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, shit. And so then I started working with you online because I was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do that. Can I do this? Is this going to be fruitful? And right away you were like, what's your why? And I was like, oh, I can tell you my why.
Oh, you want a why? I'll give you a why. Most people are like, what is my why? I'm not quite sure. And I was one of those people. I don't know what my why is. You're like, I got it. Here's what it is.
Yeah. So that's a little like background. But anyway, it was a hard time. It was a really hard time. But my kind of my beacon, my compass has always been, even in all this shit. So really hard stuff. It's been what brings me joy. Like joy is my compass.
Yeah.
And what brings me joy the most has been painting and travel and music. Like those are the things that bring me joy. And I'm combining all of them, which is why I think I'm so grateful, and I can't believe this is all happening.
Yeah. And so, thank you. I appreciate you. For the listeners who aren't going to go back to the first time we talked, but I think that is really important, and knowing your community, and me knowing you, and that your community is the band of misfits, as you call them, the LGBTQIA plus community that does feel othered, right? And you know so well what that feels like to be othered. And then when we were in, can I tell that story? Do you mind if after I met Becky in person at the Italy retreat, we left and we were going back to Rome, and she so generously asked if I'd like to go have lunch with she and her partner, Jaden, who I just adore. And then because we were in Rome, we had to go get wine after because certainly didn't have enough wine at lunch. And we go, and you start sharing this big, crazy dream of yours to teach workshops internationally.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, you were meant for this, and your community needs you. You were meant to do this.
Yeah.
And your community needs you. And now, I know we're both going to cry. I'm tearing up
And
too
now it's
because,
happening. But
and
you
now,
in me before I believed in myself. I will never forget that afternoon. And we like drank a lot of wine and sat for hours. Like you were such a friend at that point so quickly. But I will never forget you saying that. And you honestly, you believed in me, and you're like, I believe in you. Like you're gonna do this. And I was like, shit, really? You believe in me? Like, anyway, so I felt very championed and encouraged by you, which is why I text you when all this good shit happens.
yes, and I'm so glad. You better keep texting me because now, take them back to what you were about to say. Was now you are combining all of your loves. So share with people what you're doing now.
Yeah, so I've been following Brandi Carlile for 20 years since in these little clubs, and it's
You're
been a
part
big
of the Bramley.
yeah, I'm part of the Bramley, the Brandi Carlile fan club. And so I actually borrowed this band of misfits terminology from Brandi, and she uses it as well. And she's mainstream now, and she's got a lot more fans now. But for a long time, it was this music community, and I had created chosen family. Like I have friends for life out of this, and I don't have my bio family. I have this community of other music lovers who really love the music like I do. But I never imagined how it would evolve. And so that's why, so I follow the band. I go to lots of shows. I have this community, and then the art community was kind of separate. So I was starting to take art retreats and art classes, but I was always kind of the oddball in the room. Not always, but a lot of times I was the oddball in the room. And I was like, I want to teach classes that are really intentionally inclusive to all sexualities and all genders. But it was really important that was intentional. And
Yeah.
I didn't see that because I didn't see that in spaces. And so I actually love, my last retreat. I didn't know anyone, and and I was like, how did you find me? And they weren't part of my community necessarily, but my next retreat is like so queer.
So queer.
Yes, like it's so queer. Anyways,
I
I think
love that.
people are finding me and recognizing that. But and queer people are a good time, so I want to paint with all
Oh
the
yeah, the best.
there's guaranteed to be a good time and good music. So anyway, so I found out and I started teaching these workshops, and it was really from this Bramley community who started showing up at my workshops. And now I'm teaching these retreats, and a large portion of them are coming from this fan community. And so I started building that. I opened my art studio a few years ago. I since closed that to focus on teaching internationally and less of the smaller classes, and we can talk more about that. But I opened my art studio. I hosted a wine event at New Year's Eve in partnership with Brandi's wine, XOBC wine company. So that felt like a really big deal. And the community started showing up at my classes. But then in May, I would have imagined I was asked to teach a intuitive painting workshop at Brandi Carlile's music festival.
When I got that text from you, I was like, holy shit. Well, first of all, just to give people a little bit of context, it was only a few years ago that we met in Rome, or we met in Italy, right?
3 years ago. This week, 3 years
3
ago.
years. And then I think it was maybe a year ago you started teaching, then you went to Costa Rica, which was
a year ago in June this year. I guess June's a big thing. Yes, I taught my first international retreat in Costa Rica last June. Yeah.
And then since then, now you're teaching
Italy.
in Italy. You're teaching at Brandi Carlile's events. It is mind blowing what you have done. And I feel like, you can tell me, but I feel like so much of your success has been because you just are so authentic.
Oh.
You're so authentic, and you know who your audience is. You know who your community is. You're not trying to be and your community needs you.
Yeah, yes. I don't know how any other way to be. But yes, I think you're right. I think that's what I hear. People keep showing up and saying, I need this. This is unlike other workshops, or I feel really safe in these spaces. And it's meaningful for me. I really feel like it's my purpose. I think I knew it then. I just needed maybe someone outside of my partner. He says
he has to be nice to you, right? I didn't have to be nice to you.
But it was, yeah, exactly. Like, you didn't have to say that to me, and I really believed you, and I think it helped me believe it as well. And now it's affirmed in teaching. It really it feels like my purpose and what I'm.
Yeah. Big announcement around here. I am announcing my final 2 workshops of 2025. One is in Santa Fe, New Mexico in July, and the other is here in Austin, Texas in October. And I know taking a workshop can feel vulnerable, it can feel scary, but it is truly the fastest way to level up your art. Plus, we just have a ball. So whether you are a beginner or you are a seasoned artist, this workshop will transform your art and leave you feeling like such a badass, knowing that you've got the skills to not only make honest art, but fine art. So one word of caution, if you're interested in joining me, and I hope you will, know that every workshop I have offered in the last 5 years has sold out within days. So I would love to paint with you, and if you'd like to learn more, head to the link in the show notes. It's been so fun to watch you. I am creating, in fact, when this comes out, I believe that it will be starting, but I'm creating a whole new program to help teachers, help artists who feel called to teach, teaching them how to teach. And one of the reasons that I want to do this is because I have seen how healing it is for me and how healing it has been for the people that I'm teaching. It's like, and I've seen how healing it is for you and how healing it is for the people that you're teaching. And I'm just thinking, if we could exponentially, globally, I have always a big, like, why start local when you could go global, right? Like, if we could exponentially help people express themselves without them even knowing it, they're going to start healing, right? And so can you tell people some of the things that you have heard from the artists that have been lucky enough to work with you? Can you tell people what some of the things that you've been hearing that their experience has been just working with you?
Yeah, first of all, hell yeah, you are going to be perfect and wonderful to do that job. I'm so glad you're doing that. But yeah, so what has people said to me? It's one of the things that I hear from people is that they've taken other workshops and other retreats, and that mine is unlike any that they've taken. And so that feels really affirming. And again, what I'm looking for, I love to paint on my own, music loud, dancing in my studio. But really what I've heard from multiple folks is the sense of community that's fostered in the retreats that I take. And that's what I mean by it's more than painting. It's mind, body, soul. Like, we do tarot, we do meditation, we do these like sacred rituals and incorporate that. But then we also, what I keep hearing is I haven't laughed this much in a long time. The last retreat I just did in Italy, again, it was a group of strangers from all over the world. I had Canada, Australia, England. Anyway, two people who didn't even know I lived in Portland, and they took the class and they're in Portland. Like, it was but we laughed so much, like, till we cried. Our hosts from in Italy were like, we've never had a group this loud. We've never had a group drink as much limoncello. They had to keep restocking. Anyway, we were a party. But we also cried, and we also, like, it was just this full experience. And that's what I keep hearing from people is like, that it changes their life. And I think that is what I got in your retreat. And that's what I want. We are so disconnected. We are so alone on islands. And what I keep hearing is that it's bringing together community. It's feeling seen. It's feeling safe to express their paintings. A lot of people who have taken my workshops recently have said, I don't paint. I haven't painted since I was a kid, or I don't know how to paint. And then I'm like, great. I love that. Like, show up. Like, I believe you can paint. I believe everyone can paint. I don't care how you paint. Paint like shit. Like, you're going to feel something by painting and having this experience. And so that's why I love the idea of you teaching folks to teach more and to spread this, because it is so healing. It's about the being in the community for me more than it is the art. Like I really believe that in my soul. Like it is this community, this shared experience that we have, and being in a classroom. It literally, like there's an interview that just came out recently with, I think it was Jane Fonda, and she talked about the study. Have you heard this about as people are aging, like to help them live longer?
Yeah.
She encouraged people to take art classes, and she talks about this. It's not about the art. It's about getting older and being in that community space. And so I think start now. Don't wait until you're in the nursing.
Well, I agree. And speaking of community, well, one thing I just want to back up real quick. And I think you touched on something I think it's important for people. A lot of people, me included, I'm an introvert. And so the idea of going to take a workshop is like, oh, number one, if I've never painted before, I can't go because I don't know what I'm doing. And then if I go, I'm going to be embarrassed because of my art. And then if I go, I'm going to be outed as not being a real artist, even if I do paint. And then if I go, then I'll have to talk to people. And what if they're not nice? And then, there's all of these things that we can talk ourselves out of. But the opportunities, I know for my workshops, but certainly yours, what you're saying is people go and they find what they didn't even know they were missing.
100%. Yeah.
And they find this community, this joy.
Yeah, I'm scared too. Every time I go into a new classroom or a workshop, and I've been doing this now for over a decade again, like painting. Of course they're scared. I'd be scared too. But I think that's part of our job, is to help them feel really safe and their most authentic, brave selves in these classroom spaces. And so I do a lot.
Makes me want to take one of your workshops, Becky.
Yeah. I mean, I want to study with you again. So, yes. And I do a lot of a groundwork in setting the stage for them showing up and feeling really, really held in the space.
Well, see, that's the thing that is so important, is this understanding what it means to hold that space. You were in education before, so I think you had a good understanding of it. I don't think when I first started teaching workshops that I thought people are coming to learn to paint. And while I was me, I'm a much better instructor now, than I was when I started, because I understand the importance of holding that space and creating that safe space for people to laugh, to have fun, to dance if they want, to cry if they want. Like, so much of that is what you're creating in your workshops and, what we try to do.
Which is why I say tap into your communities, because I think people are showing up. Jodie, I know why I signed up. I didn't even know a lot about your art. I saw you as a person and you being your authentic self. And so as long as you can show up as your authentic self in your communities, start there. Like, those people want to hang out with you for being your most authentic self instead of this like polished or fake. I think people want to be their authentic selves as well and feel safe to do that.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Speaking of communities, my community, it's kind of like it's like you don't necessarily pick your community picks you, yes. Right? It's just based on who you are. And mine is women in there. You talked about Jane Fonda. I'm not quite to that age, but women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s who are like, oh, it's my turn. I've been giving to everyone else my whole life. I don't even know who I am anymore. And I just need to do something for myself. So my community is this kind of menopausal, perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal woman who's like, I am done playing by the rules. Yeah. Right. And I'm wanting to do something for myself. So I do think it is really important to know who your audience is, who is your community, and lean into that in the fullest extent. Right.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, that's in part my community. I'm right behind you. I'm not that. In fact, I was just having drinks with friends last night and the whole conversation was about perimenopause. Like, no one talked about that before. So we're like, why is no one talking about this? But people are starting to talk about it.
Well, at least y'all are talking about it. I swear I didn't think that train was stopping here. So I struggled for a really long time because denial is my best friend. And and then I had a friend say, well, I think you're crying every day. You're
I
not
remember
sleeping.
talking to you at one point during that time, and you were like, I think you had just figured out what was going on, and you were like, "Oh my God, this makes so much sense." Again,
Yes.
no one was talking about it. So now
Yeah.
we're talking about, anyway, that's a whole nother
So
story.
that's a whole new community to open yourself up to.
100%. Let's talk about menopause and art.
That's awesome. Okay, so Becky, what advice would you give to someone who is, an artist looking to start teaching their own workshops? What advice would you give them?
So, I think I said it, leading into your community, but also start wherever you can. Start small if you have to. And so I think I referenced earlier, I opened an art studio in Portland, and I thought that was my big dream for a really long time, was to teach in this art studio. And the other advice I would give is to be willing to pivot. So this is related to that. So I was teaching these shorter classes, these workshops. I was doing anything basically, what it came down to keep paying my rent for that space. And I taught a lot. I taught as much as I could. I taught Airbnb workshops. I'm really glad I did that. I knew that wasn't the end goal. My end goal was to teach these retreats internationally, but I learned so much from teaching those workshops. I worked with a lot of different students. I built up this students that now are taking other retreats with me later. But I was really saying yes to any opportunity to teach. But then what I ended up finding out is that I couldn't focus on these larger goals because I was exhausting myself trying to pay my studio rent to keep this Portland teaching studio open. And I was grieving that, and I was really sad about that, but I'm glad I pivoted because it really gave me the time and energy I don't know if this path would have opened up if I was
Yeah.
still trying to teach these workshops. So teach as much as you can, teach often, be willing to pivot, try different things. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Well, one of the things I was saying is, what advice would you have? But when you were saying that you did have, because in that 3 years ago, the crazy dream you had was to teach internationally, right? And then you started in Portland, teaching these smaller workshops. And I wonder what you think about this. I think sometimes when we don't really believe in our big crazy thing, we thought, well, we'll just do what we know we can do. And it's funny how you did that. And it's almost like the universe was like, go bigger.
Well, okay, that resonates so much because so I'll give you a little bit of into the teaching the workshop with Brandi Carlile at the music festival. That happened because I met someone, actually some of the fan community started talking and saying, we want to take a art workshop with Becky. And then I ended up meeting one of the people who runs her music festival. And he said to me in a bar, like we were hanging out, and he said to me before one of the concerts, he met me and he said to me, people keep telling me about you telling me about your story. And he's like, you should really teach an art workshop. He suggested it. And my first inclination that I said to him, and I kicked myself later, was, and he was like, how many people would you want? Like, this would be big. And I was like, I can't teach that many people. I was teaching these smaller workshops, these retreats, and my workshop experience, I thought, was best consumed over multiple days. I mean, I really think you get the most out of it over those multiple days. But I was like, I can't teach this big, 50 people in a room. I'm teaching 15 and in the shorter time span, and I was limiting myself because
Oh,
I said that, and then he was like, we can make it work, like, and I right away I went back to him and I was like, no, I'll do this. I could do this. I'm gonna do this. And I did, and I'm so glad I did. I ended up launching that workshop. They advertised it, it sold out, and then I ended up having to do two, and it was two workshops of 50 people that both sold out.
so
And
good.
it was awesome, but I really was limiting myself. So be open to challenging yourself. So start where you are and start small, but also I think what you just said was if you dream bigger, like the dream, I didn't even know to dream that big is what I'm trying to say. Like I think that's why it's so shocking to me, and I get teary because it happened and I still don't believe it. I still don't believe any of it. And I had to be willing to like challenge, like open up the dream. And
it's like it's like sometimes we have this dream, and because we don't know the how, we will just say, oh, I can't this, or I can't this, or I can't this. You didn't know the how, but then you had this opportunity and you're like, oh no. And you're like, oh wait, shit.
And then right away I was like, okay, how can I make this work? How can I take the content and put, like, will people get the experience I want them to get? Could I do this? And I did. It was beautiful. And it was beautiful. It worked out. I had to figure out the how and how to condense it into an hour and a half. And I did. And
well, I think anyone that's lucky enough to get to take a workshop from you is going to have their life changed for sure. I know it, and I've seen, Brandi Carlile's team would not be coming to you and saying, can you teach a workshop if the work that you were doing in the world wasn't important and good and amazing. And I'm just like, I know her.
I'll keep telling you all of my exciting things.
So if somebody wanted to take a workshop with you, first of all, where are you teaching, and what should they do if they wanted to teach a workshop with you?
Yeah, go to my Instagram is where I share the most info. So it's my full name, Becky Joan Springer. And then my website is BeckyJoanSpringer.com.
And we'll put that link in the show notes, but specifically go to Greece. Becky.
Yeah, Greece. That's the one I just announced. So I have Italy's it's full. So I'm teaching in Italy in October, but I have spots. I just announced Greece this time next year in 2026. And we're taking over this villa that's overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. I've never been to Greece. And so anyway, I'm really excited about
that. Sounds awful.
Yeah.
Taking over a villa overlooking the Mediterranean Sea, painting with the community, laughing your ass off.
Yes.
I mean, nah.
Yeah.
In Greece, what?
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. That sounds incredible, Becky. Well, thank you for sharing your journey with us. I know you're going to inspire so many people who maybe haven't been painting that long, but feel the call to teach and feel the call to make a difference in the world, which we all need so desperately right now. You're going to inspire all of them. And just so you know, you inspire me.
Oh, likewise, girl.
You are so inspiring. And
I'm so excited that you're doing this. It'll be amazing.
So keep being amazing. And if you guys want to get in touch with Becky, go to her Instagram. We're going to put all of her links in the show notes, and go out there and make a difference. Be like Becky. We shall be like Becky. Go make a difference. Thank you, Becky. I have a question. Do you have a dream or a goal of making a career out of your art? Well, there's a saying, a goal without a plan is actually nothing more than a wish. So I've got good news, because applications are now open for my 6-month high-touch mentorship program called Studio Elite. And Studio Elite gives you that plan. It gives you the roadmap, it gives you the skills, and it gives you the community to get you to your goals faster. And I keep it intentionally small so that every artist gets personalized coaching, and the results have been astonishing. Just in the last year, one artist sold over 20 paintings in 1 month. Another artist had sold almost $100,000 in art in 1 year. One started an entire home goods line. One got a $10,000 commission, and many of them finally got accepted to exclusive art fairs, exhibitions, and galleries. So if this sounds like something that is on your bucket list, then I would say let's go for it. And if you're ready to make the big moves, I'd love to work with you in Studio Elite. You can find the application in the link in the show notes. Okay, guys, real quick, while I've got to tell you about something really, really exciting, and that is the Honest Art Society. The Honest Art Society is my membership group where I'm able to finally offer artists all of the things that you've been asking for. So you get monthly training, You get coaching calls, you get monthly art critiques, there are guest speakers, there is studio hour, we'll paint together, and also you get exclusive discounts and offers, and you get to hear about things that happen first. All for only $47 a month. So I hope you will join me in this group with amazing artists as well. So go to the link in the show notes to find out more about the Honest Art Society.